Hi friends, it's Michelle from Quimby Cottage, coming on real quick to say hello. If you are regular, I'm glad you're here. And if you're new, I'm glad you're here. I am in Michigan and it's like 60 degrees and sunny and it's March, so that's kind of unbelievable. Last week, I think it was 30 something and I think we're expecting 30s again in like 3 days. So this is just a welcome little reprieve, a herald of spring. I love it. It's been really exciting to be outside just a little bit. I've been going for walks outdoors and it's very nice. So I wanted to start by telling you what I'm wearing. This is my Hitch sweater. It is by Mercedes Tarasovich. And I like it a lot. It's a fingering weight sweater, perfect for 60 degree, just kind of short. Perfect for like 60-degree weather. I made mine in Dream in Color, which is a hand tie. It calls for Brooklyn Tweed Loft. I think I would like to make this again in Loft and just see what it's like. I think the cables might pop a little bit better, but it's a nice transitional sweater. So if you don't have one, you can make it. It's cabled in the front and plain in the back. So I wanted to just tell you a couple things I finished. First of all, last time I forgot to tell you about these. They were little Valentines that I made for Mr. Hansen and Sarita. Sabine didn't get one because she got socks. But look, this is Angora. Look, can you see the fuzz? Can you see the fuzz? It's super fuzzy, but I don't know if you can see that it's fuzzy. Anyway, these are called Rustic Little Hearts. And they are by Heidi Kermeyer, and they were just super fun to make. I think they took me about 45 minutes maybe a piece. And I just thought they were cute, and I made them up the night before Valentine's Day and then put them on the breakfast table, and it was a nice little Valentine. And they have been hanging on, I have a china cabinet, and so they hang on the cupboard doors. But I think they're super cute. They would be nice little Valentines for anybody, and it would be a nice little bookmark for someone. If you gave them a book, you could put this in as a bookmark. So nice little gift. And you can use any yarn. These were both DK weight, but I really think you could use whatever scrap yarns you have. They were like a super cute little thing to do. And sorry I didn't tell you earlier, but I swear to you, I didn't know about them until the day before Valentine's, and I literally dropped everything and whipped those up. I also finished Koro Koro. You knew I would, right? Because I was super close last time. And it turned out that I was really close to the end. So these are, I don't remember how many rows, but it's a repeat, right? Like from here to here is a repeat. And I had a little bit left, but I wasn't sure that I had enough to get a whole nother repeat. And last time we talked, I think it was about like right here. And the bind off is not just a bind off. There's a couple of prep rows before the bind off. So you can't really knit like right up to the edge of your yarn and then think you're going to be okay with yarn chicken. You could lose. So rather than play, I just went ahead and did the bind off. So it's enormous. It blocked beautifully. Like, can you see the drape? I kind of worried that it would be a little bit firm, but it's not. It is wonderful. I love it. It blocked beautifully. It's super warm. I think I would wear it probably, like, let me just quick put it on for you so you can see like what it might look like. Like, look at that. And then, you know, to be super fancy, you could do like so, or like Tabitha would say, like so like that, right? Not really exactly like so like that, but like so like that. And then look. But it's very warm. This is a Malrigo Rios, so it's technically a worsted weight yarn. So it's quite warm, it's quite heavy. I love it. I was happy knitting it. I was happy finishing it. I love the colors. The yarn is great. 10 out of 10, for sure. I loved doing it. And Olga Jazzy, she just has these like super great, unique things in her brain. She has a new pattern coming out. I don't know when, but I saw on Instagram that she was calling for test knitters. I didn't sign up for that because I don't stash like that. And I don't have the brain space for all that. But I'm really excited to see what it looks like. She had just a little sketch and now I'm like, ding, after knitting this. So whatever that is, it's probably going to go on my list too. But I mean, you're like me, right? Like your list just gets so long and you can't even keep up. The other thing I did, I said I think last time that I was going to make a Gateway to Rustic cowl by Espace Tricot. I wanted to make that for my Uncle Phil's caregiver. She's just a really nice lady, and she's really done a lot for him, and there's not much we can do for him anymore because he doesn't, you know, need stuff, and you know how it is when you're 88 or 89. So, but doing something nice for his caregiver will warm his heart, and so we're happy to do it. Anyway, I made the cowl. So this is a casual, this, and then this was a yarn that was unlabeled, but a fingering weight yarn. So this is fingering weight. The pattern calls for you to do 10 rows of color work and then a gap, and then I think 20 rows of color work and then a gap, and then I think 20 rows of color work. You can see somebody didn't read the pattern because she just did 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. But I still think it turned out great. I initially, when it was in the skein, I thought I could use this color of Shibui inside. You can see I didn't do that because when it wound up, it looked like this. And I was like, does that still go? And I feel like the answer is no, right? I feel like this highlighter yellow would have been great, but I don't have that. And the caregiver, I only met her once, but she was wearing all black, so I feel like highlighter yellow might be a stretch. So I instead had a ball of this Shibui yarn, which I think is called Ash, and I used every inch of this yarn. You hold it doubled, and I did, and I went all the way around. I had enough to finish about half of a row, and then you finish it by doing a couple more rows of this, whatever color you use for this yarn. So I did a half a row, and then I did the remaining rows of that before I did my 3 needle bind off because I really wanted to use every inch. And what are you going to do with this much Shibui silk cloud held double? Nothing. So you might as well just use it all up. So it's really nice. It's really warm and really cozy. Here, I'll show you. It's close to the neck, which means it's really warm, and then that fuzz is really soft. For like 20 seconds, I thought I needed one of these for myself when I go for my walks and it's very cold out. But actually, I really feel like once I get going, I warm up, and then I would just be mad and I would have to take it off. So I think this would actually be too hot for me. Although I do sort of wonder if it would be useful to have, like at Quimby in the fall, when the temperatures start getting down and we turn the heat off at night, because otherwise you melt upstairs. Heat rises. Plus, some of us carry summer with us intermittently whenever the weather strikes. Hot flashes. So anyway, I don't know if I would really need one for myself, but I'm excited to mail this off to Uncle Phil so that he can give it to his special friend. There's not much you can do for someone who offers that kind of care, but I feel like a hand knit is, I always feel like a hand knit is the best gift I can give. Do you? That's just how I feel. So I'm going to send that off. Maybe today. All right. Now, the only thing I have on my needles, with the exception of that baby stocking, that baby is supposed to be born at the end of March. So I'll trot that stocking out again in April probably when we find out the baby's name, and then I'll be able to finish it off. But for now, that's just on rest. And the only thing I have on my needles is this, which is a shorty sock. I'm making this with leftover yarn from Sabine's Valentine socks. And so here's the shorty bit, and then the regular turned heel. And then I think I told you I wanted to do support because I have some store-bought socks that have this arch support. So what I did was I tried this, I finished all the decreases for the gusset, and then I tried it on, and where my arch began is where I started 1 by 1 rib, and I went until my arch ended, which for me is about 25 rows, and now I'm just on the rest of that. There's not very much of this yarn left. I'm literally using up every inch, so I have a ball that is this big left. There's a little bit left over from the second sock. I'll show you in a second. That's mostly this color, but I also remember I bought a second ball, like a partial ball for toes and heels, and on this, it's not big enough to do heels and toes on both pair, but it's definitely big enough for the toe, I think, on both. So this is the one I finished, and then I'm almost done. So the other one I'm, maybe like right here on. So I should be able to finish that maybe even tonight and then I'll have nothing on the needles. So I'm going to have to figure something out pretty soon. I have a bunch of scraps. I don't know if I feel like doing a scrappy project right now. So I might, well, don't worry, I'll figure something out. I have to go down and toss the stash for sure. So there's that. So finish those things. This is the only thing on my needle. Okay, one more thing I want to talk to you about. It is in the 60s now. We've had 3 or 4 days now that are in the 60s. And I thought it would be really smart to start washing my most worn sweaters, the warmest ones. It's unlikely that I am going to be wearing those more into the season. I'll bring one of them for sure up north when we go in May. I probably won't wear it much in May, but I'll bring it with me for October because I know I'll be wearing it in September and October. So I started washing them. I don't know what your setup is like. I can wash 2 sweaters and leave them dry at one time, but I do it in my basement and there's no window in there. And so depending on the sweater, it could take 2 or 3 days even to dry. Sometimes you have to flip it. So I can only do 2 at a time, but I did start. Now here's what I do. I just discovered this. I used to put them all in buckets with water and Eucalon and then maybe a color catcher if I need one. The Shout color catchers. They're little sort of they look like dryer sheets and you put them in and they catch any loose dye. So I always do 1 sweater at a time, but just in case I put the color catcher in, especially if there's color work. And I typically do that. This year, I discovered that I have a mini setting on my top load washing machine. And if I fill that with warm water, it's kind of a little bit warmer than room temperature, and I put a little bit of Eucalon in that, which is a no rinse soap. And I have a setting on my washing machine that is called soak. I have to make sure that I click it past the agitation section because if I just put the stuff in, it'll agitate for a few minutes, I think, just to make sure that everything moves and gets wet. I just do that by hand. I fill the basin up and then I just push the sweater down myself and make sure it's thoroughly saturated, and then I click it past that. And then I just let it sit in there. And so it just sits. It doesn't even turn on and agitate at all. It just lets it sit. And then at the end, it spins it dry, and then voila. So I have washed so far 3 sweaters. I have 1 downstairs still drying. And then the next thing I do is I glean them. Do you guys have a gleaner? If you don't have a gleaner, you need a gleaner. This is not a commercial for a gleaner, but it's sort of a commercial for a gleaner. So this is what the gleaner looks like. You can see that I was gleaning. It comes in this cute little sack and it says Gleener on it. And then there's these little things are removable, and there's different ones depending on what fiber you're using and what's the thickness of the fiber. So this is the thinnest one. It looks like an emery board. It feels like an emery board, like for your nails. It's super fine. This is the next one. It's just a little bit grittier. It feels like that thicker part of the emery board. And then this is for your thickest sweaters. And this is almost like a little brush, but it feels like this. And I don't remember how much these are, but then you can, this is like the lint side. So you glean like this, and then you can brush and it'll catch all the lint and you can, clean it off. Oops, sorry, like this. See, it's like that little velvety side. So you can clean all that off like that. I don't use this side very much because I'm more of a scraper. What's great about this is that they just come off like so. There's a little button right here, and then you can pop it back on. They have just travel ones too, although I don't know why you would travel with one. Wouldn't you just do your stuff before you go? But maybe if you don't have as much room as this takes, you might want the little travel size one. I like this one, but you can pop them off and then you put the other one back on. What's great about it is that you can buy replacements for this. So just like your emery board, they kind of get dull a little bit, and you can just buy replacements for these. And I have done that already. I don't know if you can buy them individual replacements, but you can definitely buy a pack of 3. And I am so glad about that because, I mean, I just love the idea that you can buy one thing and then buy the replacement pieces for it and not replace the whole dang thing. So this is my Gleener. So once I'm done washing my sweater, I lay it flat. I have a table in my basement. So I leave it on the table and then I just pull. And I always go in the direction of the sweater. And then I glean it so that it's already ready for next year. Like, look. Nice, right? So it almost looks like a brand new sweater. Not really, but close enough for me. So I have gleaned a couple of sweaters. And I wish I knew what to do with this, but look. So this is from that green sweater. And then I did my Malabrigo sweater. And this is from that. So look at. I kind of wish that I knew what to do with this. You could probably use it for stuffing in an animal. I don't know why I didn't think about that before. I'm going to save it now. Thanks for that. What a great idea. You guys are so clever. It's not very much, as you can see. This is a bigger, see, it's not very much. It wouldn't stuff very much, but still, it's wool and clean, and it won't show through maybe depending on what kind of color you're using. Whereas like white stuffing, you know, it's always so white and it can show through your stuffed animals or whatever you're stuffing. Like you could use it as stuffing if you were going to make 2 of these. Don't let me digress too much. So I don't know what your plan is. I don't know if you guys have started washing your sweaters yet or not, but I'm starting just to wash my thickest ones because otherwise it takes forever to get through them all. One thing I will say in the pandemic is I didn't wear as many sweaters as I typically do because I didn't go anywhere. So I just wore the same 4 or 5 sweaters over and over and over again. So that means there's not a lot of laundry to do, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, some of my sweaters didn't get worn at all this year. Kind of a tragedy. Anyway, I thought I would let you guys know all that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super encouraged by the weather, by the temperatures, by the numbers of people getting vaccinated. It's just, and also the fact that I think it's 51 days until I can go to the Quimby. I might need to call the plumber and set up my opening date. He's probably going to discourage me. I know they still have snow up there. But as they say, hope springs eternal. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a super day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.